Side. Thank you for joining me for today's special live. I am in the Zen Zone outdoor sauna tent, and it was almost next to impossible to set this thing up, start a fire, and look cool while doing all of this. So I kind of did this in bits and pieces. I have just gotten a nice fire going. A couple of tips. There will be a video tomorrow. You'll see of us setting this thing up. But this design that Life Pro has come out with for this portable tent is a no-brainer. It's a pop open. You're ready to go once you've got the thing pinned and tarped down. I just wanted to go over a few quick benefits of using, getting your body up to these sweaty temperatures. I've got the one door open, so obviously you can see me. I don't know if you're seeing in the sauna so well. Here, let me turn on some light and see if I can improve that. I don't know how much that's helping. Um, but I started the fire about 10-15 minutes ago. When you are setting up your Zen zone, which is included with two pieces of equipment. So when you get this, you basically, outside of the wood and a match, have everything you need to run an outdoor session. It's very cool, not having to have power, charge batteries. This is truly, and anyone can use as long as you have the space in your backyard. So the tent is set up. The venting I have open, you should have the venting open while you have the fire going. But on your first use, you actually want to assemble and season the stove before you do a session. You want to break it in, get a good fire going, and it'll give you an opportunity to kind of get an idea of what that setup looks like. Um, I would also like to, a couple of things. I've built fires before, and we have fires in our yard quite commonly. But you want to make sure your wood is adequately dry. I do not recommend using a fire starter, any type of chemicals in this sauna. Many of you are getting in this for detoxification purposes. So, that's one of the main benefits of getting your body temperature up and creating a sweat. The benefits are going to be, you're going to increase circulation, lymphatic movement. It's going to boost your metabolism. It's going to, relaxation is too big of a word. It encompasses a lot of things. But to me, relaxation is, getting rid of those, aches and pains that may present throughout the course of the day. It's very important to understand that you need to be hydrated. Some of this is common sense for some of us, but not so much. So have a bottle of water handy. If you've never done a wood fired or a sweat lodge style sauna before, one of the things that makes it very effective is adding steam to the equation. And with the wood stove that Life Pro has provided, so it comes with the tent and the stove pipe, um, is the rocks in the sauna themselves are specific for this type of use. You don't want to use any old type of rock out of your yard. Rocks are included. That's part of the reason that the packaging is heavy with the stove. But once you've got the sauna assembled, place it in the top, the rocks. And I've got a glass jug. I wouldn't recommend a plastic bottle, something glass. Metal gets a little bit hot. And if you want to increase the sweat factor and bring up the humidity, you're going to hear this. Drop a little bit of water onto the rocks. I'm a seasoned sauna user. I forgot my gloves. One sec. Ta-da! Safety first. Included are some UV gloves, of course, with Life Pro's name, so you know who thinks about these things, these little touches. But I would recommend using gloves, not because this is hot, but sometimes when you drop water into the top of the stove, it splatters. It's turning into steam, so you don't want anything jumping back and hitting you in the hand or the arm. There's the biggest reason from a relaxation perspective I enjoy it is it gets rid of my aches and my pains. I'm in my 5th decade of life, and I get tension in the neck and the shoulders, sciatic area. I am sitting on a wood bench that I made to fit into this thing just with some leftover lumber. I would not recommend metal lawn furniture. It gets hot in here. Right now, my temperature included with it. Isn't that cute? I don't know if you can see that. It's got your sauna thermometer, so it tells you what the temperature is in Fahrenheit right now in the sauna, and you should place this on the opposite wall of where you locate your stove. I'm sitting at about 125 Fahrenheit, so nice and toasty, even with the door open. We're having a heat wave where I'm at in Canada today, so it's as hot outside as it is in the sauna right now, it feels like. But there's also a hydrometer. So if you want to keep an eye, if you're looking for a specific humidity range, you can increase that by adding steam. And it's also going to feel hotter. For those of you that can't tolerate heat for long periods, this is a tip that I always like to raise. You know, maybe you are working on sweating and you're not a good sweater, or you can't tolerate for long periods, but you want to get a sweat. Heat rises, people. So if you stand up, and you have your head in the upper part versus sitting on a bench, oh my goodness, the temperature, yeah, even the temperature gauge is going up here with me. So if you want to get hot faster and break a sweat, you know, stand up. Don't situate yourself too close to the stove. It's pretty warm. But I've got room on this bench for 3 people on this side. I probably could fit 3 more people on this side. And then I recommend leaving an open area to access your stove, your wood, your water. I'm getting to that point also. Look. Yes, you'll want to have a towel handy. I'm getting hot and sweaty already. I'm going to invite any questions that you guys might have also at the end of this live. I haven't used a whole lot of wood. I broke down about 2 or 3 logs into itty bitty pieces to make it easier to light. And I'm already sweating like a banshee. If you use a sauna regularly, you'll find your body almost becomes accustomed to this technology. It's used to it and craves it, and the sweat factor comes on sooner. If you're not a regular sauna user, you're not a good sweater, you may want to, you know, ease into this type of you know, session, 10-15 minutes. So from starting the fire, sitting down and doing your session, you're probably about a half an hour if you've already got the sauna set up. A reminder, if you are using the sauna for the first time, you want to season the stove outside of the tent. And you do not want to use fire igniters. I can't stress that enough. Again, they're toxins. You know, we're in here to detoxify and have a relaxation session. They also create some of the lighter fluids and those type of things create like a black, a sooty smoke, which is going to dirty up your stove quicker. So make sure your wood is good and dry, and just give it adequate time, and make sure your pieces are small enough. I recommend, you can get these anywhere, just pick it up, a package of long stick matches to get into the stove and light that easily. If you want more heat, you know, sometimes we want it to be warmer. Leave the top vents open, but make sure all the doors are closed to contain the heat. Opposite goes if you want to cool down. If you want to cool down slightly, close the vents on the stove. I've got the door open because I wanted to warm it up a little bit quicker. But there's a little vent on the front of the stove to allow the heat to escape more into the sauna. If you have good tolerance and you really want to ramp up the heat factor, close up the vent and slightly close the flue on the pipe itself. Don't close it completely. You don't want to get all the smoke in here, but you can close it up about halfway, you know, or any combination of these. These are just tips just to get more heat into the sauna. Maybe you're dealing with a colder outside temperature, and you know, it's 35 degrees outside here Celsius, so it didn't take much to get up to temperature today. And then, you know, one of the biggest things that I found when we were playing with this over the last couple of weeks is just having enough supplies, you know, having some wood chopped if you're going to have a cool drink, you know, tunes, any electronic devices, hearing plug, hearing aids, phones. You don't want any of that in the sauna, but like my computer, I have it set up outside the sauna if you want to have some tunes. So maybe have a cooler just outside. Make sure that you're hydrated. It does recommend in the manual going commando, going in the buff. It's very liberating. Nobody's going to see you in here if you don't have the windows open. But other ideas, you may want to lay down on a towel. You may want to sit up on some furniture like I have done here. If you are sitting on furniture, line it with a towel. You get sweaty really quick. And if you are going to wear clothing, wear, minimal and keep it organic as possible. Cotton, hemp, things like that. And or it, just come out with a bathrobe and cover when you're done. One of the other things that I know Life Pro recommends, and I see them doing a challenge with, is an ice bucket, or the ice tub after the fact. So for those of you that are using the ice tub and reaping the benefits known with that type of a treatment, there's, all I want to do right now is jump into a big cold swimming pool or an ice tub. So the perfect combo to me would be this, and then jumping into the ice tub after the fact. So you could, the beauty of having this outside is you can, from being in here, you can hop right into the ice tub, keep it all outside on the grass, or in your driveway, wherever you're doing your ice tub. But that would be the ideal complement to how hot I'm feeling right now. I am absolutely dripping. I only take about 5-10 minutes to start sweating. If you find, you're not really a sweater, you're not sweating after 10 to 15 minutes, don't be completely alarmed. Sometimes it takes, your lymphatics and the detoxification of your system a little longer to get things moving. But if you are not sweating within a couple of sessions, I would certainly have a discussion with your doctor and make sure there's not something further going on there. And common sense, guys, if you haven't had a glass of water and the nutrition is in the toilet, you've got to make sure you're giving your body what it needs. If you're doing this for weight loss, detoxification, you should expect to spend some time in here and be sweating it. So you want to make sure you're replenishing your, the electrolytes. Hydration is so critical when you're doing this type of technology. It's also very important, just as part of detoxification. Maybe you want to talk to your naturopath or your local health food store about some binders or other things that can help your body replenish and restore itself on the nutrient basis after Life Pro helps you on the physical basis. What other warm-ups? Don't use any oils. I hopped in the shower before I got in here. You want to make sure all your deodorant and your makeup is off. Don't be putting essential oils on your body or in the stove. I hope it's a common sense thing, but we don't know the quality of the oil. We don't know how it's going to react at high heat, and that's something just not recommended for the longevity of the stove itself. On yourself, you don't know how your body's going to react to certain things once you start sweating. So if you feel you want to take a shower afterwards and apply whatever, that's great. But while you're in your sauna, no jewelry, no hearing aids, no saunas, no electronic devices. We want to make those things last. Have towels handy, have water handy. If you're too hot, but you want to spend a little bit more time in here, I'm enjoying having the door open now as I'm sweating my butt off. Don't sit too close to the stove. Maybe sit yourself by a door, open up more vents, or maybe just sit in here for a little bit of a period after the sauna has, the fire in the stove has gone out. You're going to retain still a lot of heat. If you are finding over time, as I have, you kind of become accustomed. So maybe where you started with this technology evolves and progresses, and you can tolerate different temperatures. It also depends on the time of year. If you're doing this in the middle of the winter versus the middle of the summer, you're probably going to get different operating temperatures, and it's ideal to have your gauge mounted just so you know where you're at any given time. And just make a mental note. If you find, for me, the sweat started coming out at about 110 degrees. Right now, even with the door open, I'm still registering 135 in here Fahrenheit. Not enough to bake cookies, but certainly enough to get the metabolism, circulation, and the sweat factor moving. With this device, of course, is a manual. Most of what I've covered, it would be a half-day thing if I went over assembly and seasoning and starting the fire. But please do invest some time. You invested time doing researching this product. I would recommend investing a little bit of time in your manual. There's more setup tips, certainly precautions, some of the stuff that I've recommended. One of the things in the manual I do not recommend, and it really depends on the manufacturer, Um, the base of the sauna is open, so I'm just sitting on a grass surface. Depending on where you're setting it up, it might be instinctive to want to put something down. And Life Pro in the manual has suggested laying a tarp down. After experimenting with this product and doing a few tries, I do not recommend putting a tarp down. I don't want anything flammable under your stove. I have a burn mark in my grass from where I set it up last time, and I expected it. It's only about this far off the ground. So the grass itself didn't catch fire, but there was heat enough to kill the grass underneath, and there's now a dark spot there. So I would recommend setting this up on a grassy or non-flammable, gravel, concrete surface, something like that. Put it on a patio block, something like that, if you're using it in a regular location. But I wouldn't recommend placing it on a tarp. And I believe that is somewhere in the setup tips on the bottom of page 14. So do not do that. Outside of that, if you one thing I have no issues with, but I know some of my neighbors do. When you're setting up the sauna on the outside, when you're securing the pegs, and you're tying the tarps, if you have a landscape where it's hard to put the spikes or the tie downs into it to secure it down on the lip, you could also use rocks or just something that holds it down, especially if you're operating in on a in a windier area. I do not recommend, if there's a big thunderstorm coming, you shouldn't plan to do a sauna session in a storm. Why, Debbie? Well, typically there's wind and rain and things that aren't necessarily good for your wood stove itself. I have additionally purchased a stove pipe cap, which you can get at any hardware store, because we have had a lot of weather over the last couple of weeks, and I just didn't want to keep moving and taking the pipe down. So I put a stove cap pipe on mine that adequately covers any moisture from coming into the stove itself. But if it is looking like it's going to storm, or you're in the middle of a session and something blows in, let the fire go out, leave the sauna. The risk is you've got a big piece of metal sticking out the top of your sauna. So, it kind of acts like a lightning finder. You do not want to operate this thing, certainly in a thunderstorm. And I think that you may find if it's really windy or heavy, rains, it's just not going to be the best session for your stove itself. So try to plan for a dry evening. Morning sessions are great. I find I get a lot hotter quicker during the day. Maybe it's the hot flashes that I'm experiencing. Interestingly, and there's no science I can provide you to support this, but I, as a menopausal woman, I find if I do a sauna session, the flashes aren't as often or as prominent. When I'm not doing the sauna, I'm getting the flashes. So this week we've had like record heat wave, and all of you in Texas and Arizona can laugh at me, but we also get minus below 30 in the winter. So our swing of temperature for what you guys normally experience is not what we're used to. And I just haven't done it regularly. I'm either doing the box sauna, the blankets, or now I'm using this outdoor one. And I haven't done one in 3-4 days. And just talking now, yesterday, all I had was hot flashes. Had nothing to do with the weather. It was totally menopausal. Today, I did my sauna, and it'll be interesting to see if I have flashes. But I did notice that back in my studio days. A lot of the gals would come because they felt it minimized or it mitigated the severity or the occurrence of their hot flashes. So who knows? Try it out. I invite your feedback. What else do I want to point out to you? I think that's about it. Like any piece of Life Pro's equipment, if you are planning on, packing this up after you've used it, because it is portable, you can take this thing camping. Come winter, for those of you that have the weather, you can take this ice fishing. I can't wait to try ice fishing. That's part of the reason I made the bench. But I would recommend, of course, letting this cool down completely before you try disassembling the stove and taking it apart. You can take it apart completely. I've been moving it as the stove and the pipe in 2 separate pieces, and I've just been collapsing the tent. Whatever works best for you. If you need to maximize space, you can absolutely, just give the stove a quick clean out and collapse it in the same fashion in which you assembled it. Other than that, I don't want to say it's idiot proof because there's always questions, but I think I'm pretty impressed with this. I've been looking at an outdoor stove for quite some time. Wasn't totally decided on a tent or a structure to go with it. And just like Joel always does, he already thought about it, and here I am demoing it today. So I'm looking forward to maybe doing another launch towards the fall in the colder temperatures, or maybe in ice fishing season, and let you guys see how dry I am from sweating. This will be very cool as an ice fishing tent as well. I don't know if the Life Pro has been marketing it that way, but I'm going to. It's certainly dual purpose for those of you that have the climate. And outside of that, thank you very much for joining me. As I said, there's all kinds of things going on with Life Pro. Normally, Amber would be joining you for the launch today, but she is busy sharing her skills in Los Angeles. So I was happy to be asked to do this demonstration for you, because it just happened to be a product I'm super excited about. And for those of you that join me for my vibration plate sessions, I'm passionate at the best of times, let alone when I get something like this that I get to play outside with. So thank you very much, Joel, for appealing to those of us that like to spend time outdoors and enjoy this type of technology. It's a great addition to the lineup of tools. It offers flexibility for those of you that just don't have the space inside your house but want that bigger sauna experience. It is not the same as an infrared sauna or red light. This is heat, old school sweat lodge. This technology has been around for thousands of years, native cultures in particular. We built a sweat lodge in grade 9 camp with oiled tarps and rocks and a fire. So I was really pleased to see that 30-40 years later, the popularity of this old school technology is still available, but so much more convenient in the packaging that Life Pros put this together with you. So thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, which I suspect you may, I invite you to post those. If you have any questions for me specifically, tag me at Debbie with a Y. Sometimes the convo gets going, and if you don't tag me properly, I may not get a notification or see the tag. And if you have any questions about anything from building a fire to setting up your sauna, we've done this a few times now at our house, and I assure you it is almost idiot proof. And enjoy it. It's a great technology. Whether it's something that you can tolerate now or develop a tolerance to over time, there's very, very few contraindications. In my mind, I'm trying to think of, really, unless your doctor has said that he does not want you increasing circulation or lymphatic movement, I don't see anyone that couldn't benefit from this. There are certainly soft contras, not absolute things, but discuss with your doctor the appropriateness for many of you that lack the ability to just get your heart rate up through more traditional means, through activities. This is a very mild, very tolerable way to elevate the heart rate, aid in detoxification, weight loss, whatever the goals are. For my athletes out there, it's an awesome way to recover. And with something like this, I mean, you could even take it to the ball game if the permit's allowed, and be the most popular guy after the tournament. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. If there's nothing else to add, again, don't forget there is a challenge going on with Life Pro Sauna Ice Tub Challenge. I'll get the link dropped to you on that later on today. Thank you for joining me today on a Friday. It's July 12th. It is my 27th wedding anniversary today. So we're going to head out for some dinner tonight. I've earned it with the sweat. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. And thank you very much, Life Pro, for allowing me to show this amazing product to your members. Thanks, guys.